What's up, bitches?
Let's talk about crime.
What's up, bitches?
Hello.
We're here, and we're going to talk to you about all the things true crime like we do every single week. I just want to be very honest and tell you all that Sierra's house and my house is officially decorated for Christmas.
My shit was decorated fucking November, 1st? 2nd?
Hers was. I did not have time to do it then, but we had a whole little party last night.
Life's been rough, man. I need some fucking joy in my life.
Well,
that's my thought process.
That's what I was going to say.
Enjoy it for 2 months versus 1.
Yeah, the reason I always decorate early is because Christmas decorations make me happy. And Christmas movies make me happy. And so
Now, don't come at us because we fucking last year didn't decorate until after Thanksgiving. We normally decorate after Thanksgiving.
no, we decorated before Thanksgiving last year.
I didn't decorate my house till after Thanksgiving.
Well, you had just moved in.
I guess that's true. So it was November.
Yeah, you didn't have a lot of decoration stuff. We decorated earlier. I started decorating.
Actually, that's a lie. I might have decorated before then.
I started
based on when I
decorating
moved in.
before Thanksgiving a long time ago, actually. We just didn't get the tree because we used to get a real tree.
That's
We'd
right.
cut down the real tree. So we'd wait until Thanksgiving weekend to get the tree.
That's okay.
But as soon as we got the fake Christmas trees, it's always been before Thanksgiving.
I think I'm going to invest in a Balsam Hill one.
And to be honest with you, I personally feel that this is how it goes. And it's okay if you disagree because a lot of people do. One of my very good friends absolutely disagrees with me. She always says like, oh my God, you guys always celebrate Christmas too early. But I feel like November 1st is the start of what I like to call Thankmas. And it's Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then November 20, whatever, this year will be 29th. Is the beginning of Christmas.
Late
I
this
feel like
year.
it is late. Normally it's like
the
third
end of fucking November.
So, what I mean by Thankmas is Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. Take a little break for Thanksgiving and then Christmas, 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 Christmas. Thanksgiving does not get forgotten. Okay. But we are not like, I'm not celebrating Thanksgiving for the month of November. Okay. I celebrate Thankmas, Christmas, Thanksgiving all together. And then after Thanksgiving, it's just Christmas. And if you don't like it, you do you, I'll do me.
Fuck off.
It's fine. I wanted to bring that up because we are definitely not talking about anything Christmas related, and we are not talking about something that brings anybody any joy. Before we get into this episode, I am going to put a little tiny bit of a warning on this episode. This episode actually gets pretty gross in nature. It's kind of a gross fucking thing that we talk about. So please be aware that if you do not like to hear about gruesome things, this just might not be the episode for you, and you can gladly skip it and catch us next week when I hopefully will have something not as gruesome. It's not like really gruesome, but it's gross. Okay, it's just gross, and to me, it makes my stomach hurt to talk about it a little bit. So I just thought I'd put a little bit of a warning on this episode. Okay, so other than that, here we go. So what are we talking about this week? Well, this week we are talking about September of 1978. This is in California. Mary Vincent is picked up hitchhiking and she is brutally attacked. And Lawrence Singleton is responsible for this attack and he does go to jail, yet this is not his only crime. Before I go any further, I'm going to apologize right now because I already know I'm going to get heated in this one. Okay. It angers me to the fucking core. Last week, if you
it's probably going to piss me off just as much, if
it
not worse.
will. It will. Last week, if you listen to Fatal Blend at all, I got very heated in Fatal Blend. This is very similar. So if you have listened to Fatal Blend, you already know it's coming. If you have not, buckle up, Buttercup, because here we go. So we're going to talk a little bit of background about Mary. So Mary Vincent was born in 1963, and she is one of 7 children. She grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada with her family, and she is half Filipino. Now, her father was a mechanic and was also in the military, and her mother was actually a blackjack dealer in Vegas. Now, in 1978, her parents actually are getting divorced, and it's getting very messy. It's a very messy divorce. So Mary decides she is going to leave home. Basically, she runs away from all the chaos. She is 15 years old and she's like, I can't deal with this shit no more. Now, after a very short time of living on the streets and in cars, and at one one of the articles I read said that she actually went to San Francisco at one point because she was very artistic. She was into the dance scene. And so she went to be in that community. She decides to hitchhike to her grandfather's home in Berkeley, California. Now, while she is trying to get to her grandfather's home as she's like walking and trying to hitchhike, and I know we all think hitchhiking is weird.
Not for that time,
but
though.
not
That
the
was
70s.
norm.
The 70s, everybody hitchhiked everywhere.
It was safe. Well,
no, it was not safer.
no,
It was not
I wasn't saying
safer.
safer. I was saying they were thinking it was safe at the time.
Right. And this is why there were so many serial killers in fucking California
And
alone.
why a lot of the victims were
Hitchhikers, yeah.
victims.
So while she's trying to get to her grandfather's home, she actually is trying to flag down drivers to potentially, take her at least farther down the road towards Berkeley, right? Well, this blue van pulls over and offers her a ride. Now, the thing is, she is with she was supposedly with like a group of people that she was kind of traveling with. And so this blue van pulls over, offers her a ride. And the man inside is like an older man. He seems like a really nice man. She hesitates a little, but she does end up accepting his offer. And this is when she meets Lawrence Singleton. Now, Lawrence Singleton was born July 28th, 1927 in Tampa, Florida. And he dropped out of school at the age of 16 and worked for the railroad for a little bit. He goes on and works as a merchant sailor at the age of 17. And then he does actually serve a little bit of time in the Army during the Korean War, and he is honorably discharged in 1952. There's nothing else known about his life, really. Nothing about his early life, nothing about his childhood. What we do know is that he was supposedly a severe alcoholic, like he would drink a lot. And he was also a very mean drunk, which is never a good fucking thing. He also had gotten married to Shirley Ann Powells in 1958, and they stayed married until Shirley died in 1977. And then he also apparently had a daughter that he had a really not very good relationship with. Now, according to the prosecuting attorney that handled this case, he actually said that he had a deeply ingrained hatred and dislike of women. And at the age of 50, this is when his hatred hits the all-time boiling point. For some reason, I actually look at the dates now and realize that this is about the right after his wife died. So I'm assuming
I was gonna say, I'm assuming that was the trigger.
That was like a trigger, yeah. So what happened? Well, on September 29th, 1978, as I said, Lawrence sees Mary walking down the road hitchhiking. He pulls over, stops, offers her a ride. Now, again, it was reported that she was with other people that she had been traveling with who also were waiting for a ride. And Lawrence was like, no, I don't have room for all of you. I can take one. I'll take the girl. I'll take the girl. I'll take her. The thing is, they all were like, I don't understand because you got this big ass van and it's empty. So I don't know why you can't just take all of us. Well, Mary did say that other people had told her, do not get in the car. Do not. Those people were like, don't go with this guy. This is creepy that he just wants to take you somewhere. And she kind of ponders and she's like, nah, I'm cool. I need to get to my grandpa's house. So she gets in the car. So as they're driving, it becomes very clear that Lawrence is not going in the right direction. And she even calls him out on it. And he's like, oh, it was a mistake. Oh, silly old me and my 50-year-old brain. Now, she actually also tries to escape because he turns off onto this deserted road. And then she's kind of like, nah, this is sketch. And she gets out of the car to leave. Well, as she goes to get out of the car, Lawrence knocks her unconscious with a sledgehammer. Now he strips off her clothes. He bounds her tightly and he repeatedly sexually assaults her throughout the night, multiple times. Now the next morning he says to her, you want to be set free? I'll set you free. He then proceeds to pull out a hatchet and chop off both of her forearms. Now, in one swing, he chops off her left arm. This is the grotesque part. This makes my stomach hurt because no fucking way. So in one swing, he chops off her left arm. And then after that, Mary starts to fall to the ground because she's in pain. So she grabs a hold of Lawrence with her right arm and then he swings the hatchet again. And she continues to fall even though she was holding onto his arm because he chopped off her arm. Now, Lawrence then believed at this point that Mary is dead, or at least she's going to die. So he throws her off of a cliff and she lands 30 feet below on in a concrete culvert.
Wait, I fucking heard of this.
Yes. However, Mary was not dead. And she fought the urge to fall asleep, which is what her body wanted to do. Because you think about it, I mean, you're basically dying. For me, when I get a migraine, all I want to do is sleep. When I had strep throat, all I want to do is sleep. Because when you're in pain, the only time you're not in pain is when you're sleeping, right? So your body automatically is like, okay, just go to bed.
Well, your fucking body
your brain
is just
in shock.
Your brain is just drained too, like from all the pain.
Well, and she was repeatedly sexually assaulted and raped all night long too. So she's exhausted. All she could think about was, I cannot go to sleep. He is going to do this to somebody else. I cannot let this happen. So she's like in her brain going, I can't just lay here. This will tell you right now. Again, she did not die. Okay. And she fought like fucking hell. When the moment was when he chopped off her arms, this is her exact quote. I'm just letting you know, this is her quote. He took my left arm in one swing and I started to fall. And then he took another swing and I grabbed his arm. I grabbed it really tight. And I could not figure out holding him really tight on his arm, but I am still falling. So she's literally describing the fact that she squeezed the shit out of his arm and still fell to the ground. Because in the moment, she probably didn't realize he had chopped off both of her arms, right? She's probably in shock. But she talks about how she remembers like holding on to him, but still falling to the ground, even though she knew she was holding on to him. Which also, yikes. Yikes. Now, Mary, smart ass fucking Mary. 15 years old Mary, please remember, she chooses to live at this point. She is in severe pain. She is naked. And she said, fuck no, I'm not going out like that. So she goes and shoves her arms, both of them, into the mud to try to slow the bleeding. Fucking smart. I would
clot it.
Fucking smart. She actually covers them with so much mud and packs them down. Like, I cannot even imagine how painful that would have been. But fucking smart, because it's like you said, it's like putting gauze on it. It's trying to slow down the bleeding. Then she fucking climbs the 30-foot embankment with no goddamn hands. Climbs the 30-foot embankment and begins to walk down the road to get help. She is walking, holding her arms in the air high above her head so as to keep the blood flow, because it's above your heart, so it won't flow as fast. Fucking smart ass 15-year-old Mary. Now,
after, we want to talk about fight or flight.
For reals. Now, after walking 3.9 miles, a couple ends up stopping to help her. She said that there was a truck that showed up with two men that fucking took off when they saw she had no hands. They flipped a bitch and went the other way. This couple happened to turn down the wrong road and saw her, pulled over, immediately put her in their car and took her to the hospital. Now, while at the hospital, she's like, I need the police. I need to talk to them. I need to tell them about this person. And they're like, well, you need surgery. And she goes, I need to talk to them. They're like, you need to rest. She's like, nah, I'm talking to the police. So the police show up. She tells them everything she remembers about Lawrence to the very last detail. She actually said, and I quote, I wanted to make damn certain that they knew who he was when they saw his face. I described him like you would describe someone to a blind person. And they wanted her to rest first. And she's like, no, it's fresh in my fucking brain. I'm telling you now. Yeah.
And the anesthesia genuinely could have.
Absolutely. So a composite sketch is made with her description. And about a week later, a neighbor of Lawrence's recognizes the man that he sees on the screen with this sketch. And he actually tips off the authorities and like, hey, I think that's my neighbor, Lawrence Singleton. By the way, during this time, he was deemed the fucking mad chopper, which also is fucked up in my opinion. That's a fucked up name. Now, this tip leads to the arrest of Lawrence, and he is charged with the rape, kidnapping, and attempted murder of Mary Vincent. Now, Mary, badass fucking Mary, testified in the trial against Lawrence. So not only did she save her life, choose to live, do all this shit, get him arrested, she said, also, bitch, I'm putting you in jail because I'm going to be the one. I'm the one. Now, while she's in court, she is actually asked to identify the man who attacked her. And she uses her, because by this point, she had prosthetic arms, okay? So she uses her prosthetic arm to point at Lawrence in the courtroom and says, I was attacked, I was raped, and my hands were cut off. He used a hatchet and he left me to die. Badass fucking Mary. Now Lawrence is
Mary
found.
said, "I ain't no bitch."
Mary said, "Fuck, you fucked with the. I ain't the one." That's what Mary
I
said.
ain't the
I
one.
ain't the
bitch.
one. So Lawrence is found guilty, and he is sentenced to. Take a guess.
8 months in prison.
No, take a real guess.
20 years.
14.
Oh my fucking god.
Which at the time was the maximum that California state would allow. The judge that actually sentenced him said, if I had the power, I would send him to prison for the rest of his natural life. But
So life in prison wasn't an option?
no, it was not. Not in 78
That's fucked.
or 79. So as Lawrence is leaving the courtroom, as he's being led from the courtroom, this motherfucker had the audacity to say quietly as he passed by Mary, if it's the last thing I do, I'll finish the job. This motherfucker said that shit as he's being led out of the fucking courtroom. Again, she's like 15, maybe 16 at this point.
Dude, I would have looked at him.
What the fuck?
Mary probably looked at him.
Mary's like, fuck
said,
you, bitch. I got your number.
No, Mary probably looked at him and was like, try me, bitch. It's like a fucking movie.
For real. For real. Now, this should be the end of the podcast, right? Like, this should be it. Oh, he got 14 years.
No, we fucking know it's not.
He got 14 years, and that should be it, right? Alas, it's never the end because of our fucking shitty-ass justice system, and this is where I get pissed. So after serving 8 of his 14 years, Lawrence is let out of prison on good behavior. So he was actually released in 1987. Now, there is a massive public outcry and protest over his release because people are like, why the fuck? He doesn't deserve to be out of prison fucking, 6 years early? He deserved more than 14 years as it is, but you didn't even make him serve his sentence. I'm going to say this right now. Mark my fucking words. And I will say this a million times. I will die on this motherfucking hill. Convicted sex offenders and pedophiles should never be let out of prison after one time. They should not. This is what Fatal Blend was about last week. Is a serial killer who was a fucking pedophile who was caught and went to prison for pedophilia and released and went on to do the same thing. Pedophiles should never be let out of prison. Specifically, convicted sex offenders of this caliber should never be let out of prison after one. They don't get second chances. Pedophiles cannot be rehabilitated. Convicted sex offenders like this man, who are violent convicted sex offenders, will never be rehabilitated. There's zero reason to give them anything other than life.
Wired in their brain.
Exactly.
Like genuinely,
there's
no helping it.
You cannot.
It's an addiction, basically.
Yeah, and you can't fix it.
Which is not okay, but I'm just saying.
And this is why I get so angry at this and last week and this week, because it's like, why we keep thinking that sex offenders and pedophiles can change, I fucking don't know. Now, I clarified this last week, so I'll clarify it here. I am not speaking on all sex offenders because some sex offenders are statutory rape charges.
Wrongfully convicted.
There are wrongfully convicted, but I'm talking this caliber. I'm talking a violent sex offender. I'm talking about somebody who violently, and actually, if you want to get technical, he was a pedophile. If we really want to get technical, she was 15 years old. So he's a pedophile anyways, because he went after a 15-year-old girl. But my point is, there is no way, shape, or form you will ever be able to sell me on the fact that a pedophile or sex offender, convicted sex offender, violent sex offender should be let out of prison. You cannot rehabilitate them. And that is the only way that people should be able to be out of prison, is if you can go through rehabilitation to help them get out and be a useful person in our society. Pedophiles and violent sex offenders are not going to ever be useful people in our society. Anyways, moving on. Now, first, I want to say, can you imagine what it was like to be Mary at this point? This man swore to finish the job when he got out of prison, and he gets out of prison fucking 6 years early.
I'd be sitting in a chair in my house with a gun ready.
She actually ended up hiring one of her good friends to be a bodyguard for her because she was afraid. And I don't fucking blame her at all. Now, there was so much talk amongst the public about being so angry about him being let out that he was essentially exiled from every town he tried to live in California. Because he had to stay in California because he had to be on parole for a certain amount of time, right? So they would place him in cities, and they would literally call the cops, fucking mob his house and demand that he be arrested and taken away. So much so that he had nowhere to go. They ended up putting him in a trailer on the San Quentin property to finish out his parole because he couldn't go anywhere else. Good. That is exactly what it should have been like. So after his parole, Lawrence does end up moving back to Florida, which is where he was originally from. So after he gets exiled from all of California and he serves his parole, he moves back to Florida. Now in 1990, Lawrence is twice convicted of theft. So he serves 60 days for stealing a disposable camera, which was only $10. You can already tell that they're like, we're not fucking around, bro. Like, we know your past, right? So he gets arrested for stealing a $10 disposable camera and he gets 60 days in jail. And then he steals a $3 hat and gets sentenced to 2 years in prison. Okay. So Florida ain't fucking around with him either.
Well, it's also because he's an ex-convict, too.
To be honest with you, I personally feel that if you are somebody who was in jail and you are a convicted fucking violent sex offender, and then you go on your parole and you're living your life and you do something fucking stupid like stealing, you should go back to jail and never get back out. That was your second chance and you fucked it up. That's how I feel. If we want to give second chances to fucking losers, fine. February 19th, 1997. So this is like 10 years after he gets out of jail. A man calls the police and reports that Lawrence, who at the time he didn't know his name was Lawrence. Lawrence had actually moved to Florida and changed his name to Bill. So this guy, he actually calls the police and reports that Bill had assaulted a woman in her home in Sulphur Springs, Florida. And so he reportedly said that he saw this man. He knew him as Bill. He looked in the window because he was a painter. And he was in the area, and this was one of his clients. And so he wanted to swing in and make sure things were cool with what he had done. And he walks up and, the window is open and he sees Bill, a.k.a. Lawrence, standing naked and covered in blood over a woman that is not moving on her sofa. He also witnessed him stab her 7 fucking times. So he calls the police, obviously. So the police respond to this report. They show up to the house and they find Roxanne Hayes, who is 31 years old. She had been stabbed multiple times. She was dead when they arrived. She was also a mother to 3 kids. Now, Lawrence was immediately arrested for this and charged with murder. Now, Lawrence tried to tell the police that he killed Roxanne because she was trying to steal from him, because she was a quote unquote prostitute that had agreed to come to his house for sexual favors. And she tried to steal from him. So he stabbed her. But then he also said that she stabbed herself essentially because they fought over the knife. Like there was this knife and they fought over the knife. Yes,
she stabbed herself 7 times.
Not only did she not stab herself 7 times, but she stabbed herself 7 times in the chest and the face. Right. Okay. Now, Mary Vincent, and we're back to Mary now. Badass fucking Mary. She decides, oh yeah, I got your number, bitch. So she decides to fly to Florida to testify once again against Lawrence. Basically to testify how shitty of a person he is and to prove that he's a shitty person. And she does. She testifies. She points out what he did to her. And Lawrence actually is found guilty and he is sentenced to death in Florida in 1998. Now, part of the reason he was found guilty was because of her testimony, because she basically is like, he did this to me. When I was 15 years old, he left me to die. And then he did it again. Like, he's not going to stop. So, of course, because this is how the world fucking works, there was never an execution date set for him. So even though he got the death penalty, they never actually put into motion the death penalty. And on December 28th of 2001, Lawrence Singleton died while in prison due to cancer, and he was 74, which just irritates the shit out of me.
Because he essentially was still able to live a life.
This bitch, what makes me mad about it is he essentially was arrested when he was 51 years old. So he got to live 23 years. 23 fucking years. And by the way, only 8 of those were in prison in the beginning. And then he did this in 97. He gets convicted in 98 and he dies in 2001. That just doesn't seem fucking fair or right. However, we like to end things on a positive note with this one because I'm so goddamn angry about it. And I'm so tired of watching pedophiles get out of jail and go and hurt other people, or convicted sex offenders, violent sex offenders get out of jail. We're going to end this on a little bit of a positive note. So due to Lawrence and his atrocious ass, California ends up passing a series of laws that allow for longer prison sentences for those convicted of violent crimes. They also had a law put into place that made kidnapping with the intent of committing a sex crime punishable by life in prison. So at the end of the day, Mary actually was very vocal about it. She really pushed these things because she's like, you guys let him out of, not only did you let him out of jail early, but you gave him a small ass sentence for what he did, and look at what he ended up doing. Mary also pushed for a law that they have in California now that makes it to where if you are a convicted sex offender, you cannot get out of jail early. There is no early release for convicted sex offenders, which is fabulous. These are the things that need to be done. And I'm not going to dig into Mary's life now, but I am going to give you the tiniest of updates on her. And if you wanted to Google it, you could probably figure out more about her. But again, I'm not into putting victims' information onto the episodes. However, Mary did get married. She did get divorced. She got married again. She does have adult children. And she's living her life like a fucking person should. She did not let the attack define her. And she has since really lived a fairly quiet life with her family. However, she's done a couple of interviews. And actually, the most recent interview I saw was 2023. She actually did an interview and she talked about how she went through therapy. She found ways to cope and deal. And
I'm sure it's easier to talk about it now too, especially well
he's
now,
dead,
but like
first of
when
all,
he
so that
died.
helps.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like when he died,
yeah.
Like, because even knowing that he was still alive in prison, I'm sure there's still a fear, right? Of course, there's always going to be a fear. But when he died, I'm sure like that. Obviously, there's still so much that you have to go through, but it's going to be a lot
fear of him
easier
coming
because
after you
know that there's no way for him. To
well,
possibly come get
and
you.
she did say in one of her interviews, I think it was in like 2003, she did say that she still to that day was waking up with nightmares, and she said, I have broken bones in my body or dislocated my shoulder because I wake up so terrified that it's happening that I'm trying to like escape, and she will hurt herself in the process, right? I do know that she's an artist, like an actual fucking artist. And again, she lives a very quiet life with her family, so I'm not going to put on blast where she lives or anything like that. And I'm not going to even put on blast what her name is now, because her name is not Mary Vance because she's married. But I just wanted to point out that badass fucking, I can't. So far, out of all of the podcasts I have done,
I'll tell you right now, there's no. I probably would have died.
I would have keeled over and died.
No, literally, I would.
I can tell you right now, I would have been like, I'm done. First of all, here's why.
Yeah,
here's why. First of all, I don't think I would have had the smarts to put my fucking arms in mud.
Okay, even if I would have put my arms in mud, there's no way I'm fucking climbing that damn.
Ma'am, I couldn't even. I couldn't even climb the hill in Tennessee, bitch. I'm not climbing.
Exactly.
I'm not climbing a 30-foot embankment.
That shit was steep as fuck.
That shit was steep as hell. But still, I mean, Jesus take the wheel on that day as we're walking up this fucking side of the mountain in the pitch black. My fucking slides are falling off. I'm like, Sierra, just leave me to die. And you said, I can't leave you. And I said, just let me die. Save yourself.
And then you said, Sierra, watch out. And I thought there was going to be some fucking human coming at me, but it's a fucking skunk.
There was
which
a
is
skunk.
Not anywhere near.
Well, shit, I didn't want it to spray you. That would have made it worse. But I know I'm not walking up a 30-foot embankment. I don't give a shit how fucking healthy or how much weight I've lost. I'm not going to be able to do it. My heart will give out. I can already tell you right now. So I would have just been like, well, this is where, okay, Jesus, take me to heaven, because if you'll allow me, take me to heaven, because my God,
Jesus,
I'm dead.
Take the wheel.
That's exactly the song I'd be singing as I'm dying. As I'm dying on the floor. It's not funny. It's not funny. I actually have I have so much fucking respect for this woman.
Yeah, no shit.
And to be honest with you, out of all of the people that I have researched, out of all the victims, she is by far the biggest badass I have read so far.
Her or the girl that had her eyes fucking ripped
True
out.
story. Yeah, I mean, when
literally
how
those
do you
two
survive that, right?
Those two badass bitches.
Oh, badass bitches, man. And I'm so happy to say that she went on to live a great life. I mean, she did not let this attack define. She could have survived it and then literally been like, well, fallen into like the dumps and depression and not being able to deal with it. But she dealt with it and she lived it, and she fucking continued to stare him in the face to be like, I'm not the one. And I am just like, ma'am, you are not the one. And I'm glad.
Yeah, I don't want to fuck with you.
And I'm glad that you aren't the one, because had she not done what she did, he would have absolutely killed more people.
He probably would have become a serial.
He would have been a serial killer for sure. They do try to call him a serial killer, but he only has one death under his belt, so that is not a serial killer. Now, had Mary not made it, he would be a serial killer, but that is not the case. And again, there's so many years between those murders but again, he was in prison for some of them, and so I totally think that he would have continued though. I don't. There's no doubt in my mind had he not been caught, and he was caught literally because of a 15-year-old badass named Mary Vance. Like, I can't even.
That's the other thing. 15. You gotta remember that too.
That's what I'm saying. So all you 15-year-olds, if you're listening to this, you shouldn't be, first of all. But if you are 15 years old and you are listening to this, be like Mary Vance. Be that fucking badass bitch that stands up for yourself. I'm going to tell you right now,
15, there's no fucking way I would have done that.
Listen, when I was 15, well, yeah. I want to say that, but when I was 15, I was out drinking and doing all this bad shit and surviving my life anyway. So maybe I would have fought a little harder. When I was 15, I might have been able to walk up that 30-foot cliff because I was a dancer. I was pretty fit. So I probably could.
My fat ass still probably.
Nah, you could have because you were a softball player. I think at 15 you probably could. I mean, I don't know how she did it with the pain. Like, I don't know. Maybe that just the adrenaline just started pumping. I mean, I do feel like sure, but again, when at 15, I don't think I would have thought to go try to stop the bleed. I think I would have been like, I don't know what to do. Like,
I would have been like, I don't have any fucking hands.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do? Yeah. So, I mean, this is the most insane thing. And what's crazy is when I started looking for, things to do, I did know of her. I've actually heard her story on other podcasts before. And I wanted to talk about her because I think it's so important, even though we really like to talk about the perpetrators and the criminals and all that stuff. I think when you have people who are as badass as her, you got to talk about them too, because maybe, just maybe, in our crazy fucking world we live in, if somebody attacks you, you'll be like, I'm going to be Mary today. And you're going to fucking pull out your Mary Vance hat and you're going to fucking beat that person, right? Because that's the world we live in, is you do have to, you just can't give up. You just can't give up. And she never fucking gave up. And again, the fact that she not only put his ass in jail once, but she did that shit twice. Like, I'm like, good on you. You freaking, I said freaking, that's weird. You went to 2 trials and pointed your fucking arms to him and said, you did this to me. Everybody in this courtroom, look at what this man did to me. And also,
not once, but twice.
Let me stare you in your face and tell you, bitch, you are not ever
She probably looked at him and he probably had fucking hauntings of her.
You know what she should have said? Is before he
I'm gonna haunt you in your dreams, bitch.
No, before he left the courtroom, she should have said, I finished the job for you. Because he got death. He was never getting out.
She should have said, catch you on the flip side, bitch.
She's not going to catch him because his motherfucker ass is in hell. He's in hell. She's not going to hell. She's going to be like Jesus' right hand woman. That's what she's going to be. He's going to be like, and you deserve to sit on the golden throne next to me because you're that fucking awesome. Anyways, by the way, I don't know how old she is right this minute. I guess I can just do the fucking math. So,
like late 50s,
you got to think about it this way. This story, while we think Mary was a badass at 15, she's in her 60s now. I guarantee you she's still a badass. Guaranteed.
I wouldn't want to fuck with her. I'm just throwing that out
Guaranteed.
there.
Actually, I do believe, one thing I will say, and I'm not going to tell you, like I said, I'm not going to say too much. She did go on to be like, to help other victims, which is, of course, I mean, what else would you expect from badass Mary Vance? Like, nothing. So she went on to push to help victims. She wants people to do therapy that have been victims of crimes because she knows that it helps her. And I think it's fucking amazing. I think she's an amazing person. So Mary, if you ever listen to this, just because you never will.
You a bad bitch.
But if you do, girl, I want to be like you when I grow up. When I was 15, But I want to be just as awesome as you because you are somebody that all people, not just women, all people should look up to. Because you're amazing. You're an amazing person. Anyways, that's all we were talking about today. Is we were talking about Lawrence Singleton. If you like the things that we say, if you like what we talk about, if you like listening to us chitty chat about the true crime awesomeness, then make sure you're following us. And if you think your friends and family, preferably they be over the age of 18 because we are not exactly young kid friendly sounds.
18,
share.
I'd say like 16.
Girl, we're considered mature, which is like 17.
Did I fucking listen to shit at 16?
Okay, well, you shouldn't be listening to this kind of true crime stuff when you're under 18 anyway.
You want to know why they do? Because it's lessons. It's like school. It's like education. It's a safety.
It could be
lesson.
Or it could be studying to become a serial killer, which I don't want to be responsible for. So please listen to this of age. But no, pass this on.
Listen to it in your sleep. Listen to the sound of
oh my God. Give you some whatever.
Like on Friends with fucking Chandler and the smoking.
Yeah. So share us, like us, do the things that you want to do. If you ever want to reach out to us, please feel free to go to our socials or email us. And obviously I'll be talking back to you. And other than that, I have nothing else to say other than thank you for listening to us talk about Lawrence Singleton, the Mad Chopper, and the fact that Mary Vance would not let him take her.
Did you just come up with that?
No, that's what he was called. Did you not hear me tell you that earlier?
No, I definitely
I said it was a fucked up nickname. They called him the Mad Chopper.
I definitely thought you just came up with that on a whim, and I was real proud of you.
No, I did not. That is actually his nickname. And Mary Vance definitely beat the Mad Chopper. So until next week, catch you on the flip side, bitches.
Bye, bitches.